Hey everyone on YouTube. A couple of days ago, I posted a fairly short video about this car. Um, it's a '93 Intrepid that I bought recently. More on that in a moment. But the video I shot at night in my garage, and you couldn't see much. And some people have posted some nice things. And one guy even said it made his day watching the video. So I decided to do one more video with a little more detail during the day where you can actually see it. So for those of you who appreciate older cars or these the LH cars, I am doing this video. I mean, I appreciate it. That's why I bought it. But I figured there would be a handful of you on YouTube who may enjoy watching this. So this is a 1993 Dodge Intrepid ES, and I just got it a week ago on October 15th, 2023, and it is in pretty much mint condition. And it only has, when I bought it a week ago, only 14,500 miles. It has 15,000 now because I drove it home. It was a 6-hour drive. I bought it from a guy up in Wisconsin. And so I thought I'd do this video and post it on YouTube for anybody who might appreciate these cars as I do. So when I was 10 years old, but I'm 39 now. So I'll be 40 next year. But when I was 10 years old, my best friend's mom and dad bought a brand new 1995 Intrepid. So this is a 93, the first year it came out. This is the first body style. They had this body style from 1993 to 1997. In 1995, my best friend's mom bought a brand new one, and I don't know if I had ever seen one at the time. All I remember is that my friend Rich called me and said, "Hey, Mom bought a new car." And they were going to come pick me up. And they pulled in my driveway, and I walked out of the house, and Nancy pulled up in this brand new Intrepid, and I was just in awe because back then, four-door sedans were really boxy. You know, if you lived in that area, you know what I'm talking about. Boxy, 90-degree angles. And this car came out, this Intrepid came out for 93, along with the Chrysler Concorde and Eagle Vision, and it was a whole new radical design. It was really futuristic looking and modern. I actually still think it looks modern, but nobody agrees with me. All my friends and family make fun of me for buying this car. Eric, why'd you buy it? Well, it's because it was such an important part of my childhood. So she got that brand new car, and I got in it, and I was just awestruck. I thought it was the neatest car. Remember, I was a little boy at the time, and I just thought it was such a cool looking car. And so after that, or from that day, I always loved them. I still do. And I don't know, I became obsessed, I guess. So now that I've gotten older, I decided I wanted to see if I could find a used one, and I found this one. So I guess the story real quick. I, from time to time, would get on the internet and see if I could find a first generation Intrepid for sale. Well, as I'm sure most of you know, people didn't really take care of these cars. They're all pretty much dead and in the junkyard, and they're not known to be the most reliable anyway. But people didn't really take care of them, and they just, you don't see them on the road anymore. So from time to time, I would get online and I would look to see if there were any for sale. And if I found one, it was always, a million miles, total junk. No, I would have no interest. They didn't take care of it. This thing is like brand new. In fact, the tires that you see, those are actually the original tires. So this is a 93 Intrepid ES. It's the Indy red color. They only offered this color for 2 years, and it has the gold rims. Talk about 90s, right? They're so 90s. I think they're so cool, though. And it is like brand new everywhere you look. So I'm doing this video here in the daylight, obviously, compared to the little video I did earlier at nighttime. Maybe you can see more. But I'm just using my phone for this, so I don't do videos and upload them. I never have, except for that other video I did a couple nights ago. So I don't have any fancy cameras. I'm just doing this amateur. So bear with me. So as you can see, the cloth is like new. Oh yeah, I was actually cleaning it, so my hands are pretty dirty, but cloth is like new. It has the original floor mats, not the one in my hand, that's one he covered, but it's got the original carpet floor mats that are like brand new. The seller told me that he always kept them covered with these mats. It even, obviously you can't smell it, but it almost smells like a new car in here. In case you're wondering, well, what's the story? Like, why does it have such low mileage? How did you find it? As I was saying earlier, I was looking online, and every Intrepid I found from the first generation was always junk. And then I came across this car just on the internet on a website, classiccars.com. And I just assumed it had already been sold, and I clicked on it, and I thought, oh my gosh, that's cool. It's the first year. It's only got 14,000 miles. How's that possible? The odometer now shows, let's see, 15,076. I did drive it today. I drove it to get my hair cut, and I took it through the touchless car wash. But anyway, I found it online, and make a long story short on the purchase, I got a hold of the guy, and I went up to Wisconsin. I live in Indiana, by the way. Drove up to Wisconsin last Sunday, checked it out, and I bought it. And it was in his pole barn. Huge garage, very nice. He had other vehicles in there, and there was a cover over it, a car cover, which he gave me. It's in my garage. And I'll keep the cover on it. I'll always keep it garage. But yeah, so this man, he bought it brand new off the lot in 1993. He was a police officer, he said, and he was driving through the lot on duty, and he saw it and immediately loved it. He said he thought it was just a really neat looking car. So he bought it in 1993, and then after that he just babied it for whatever reason. I mean, I'm glad he did, but he babied it, and he barely ever drove it. He told me he let his wife drive it one time, but otherwise he only drove it every now and then, to maybe to dinner or to church or whatever. And he's not a super old fella. I think he told me now he's 66. When he bought it, he told me he was only 35 years old. So just a little bit younger than me when he bought it brand new off the lot. And he didn't really need it anymore. He said he had 2 grown sons. They don't want it. Nobody, I mean, a lot of people probably wouldn't even want this car. I do, but probably aren't that many people who would even care about this car. But I'm really glad that I found it. And he was happy to sell it to someone who knows will take care of it. So yeah, he kept it in his garage. He said he never deliberately even drove it in the rain. He said he got caught in the rain a couple times, but it was always indoors in his garage. And he said no children have ever ridden in it. It's never been eaten in. He waxed it himself on a regular basis. I mean, it's just, when he took the cover off, I was like, this is too good to be true. I mean, how can this thing be so perfect? But it is. It's like a time capsule. And he said that he didn't really need it anymore. Kind of one of those, he wanted to sell it and he wanted to keep it, but keeping it wasn't going to get it anywhere because he wasn't driving it. And he thought, what do I have to lose? I'll post it online. And then obviously I found it. So yeah, I bought it from him. Yes, I'm sure some of you are wondering, like, how much did you pay for that? My family jokes around about, what, $500? Well, no, of course not. It's pristine. And if you get on the internet, different websites, and you look at other cars from the early to mid 90s that were competitors, like the Pontiac Grand Prix, the Ford Taurus, whatever, Buick Regal, even with higher miles and in not quite as good of shape, a lot of the cars, like for example the Grand Prix, there are a bunch of them online. There's a 92, for example, online right now, and they want almost $20,000 for it. So certain cars certainly seem to be going up in value. I bought this car for $9,000, and he was asking 10. I offered 8. He said no. We met in the middle. So some of you might think I'm insane, and why would I ever pay $9,000 for this car? And some of you who appreciate these cars would probably say, well, actually, comparatively speaking, that's a good deal. So that's how I got it. Okay, enough talk. I'll just show you some things. The rims are, well, like I said, they look brand new. One common problem with the Intrepids, the ES models with these rims, whether you had the ones that had the gold pockets or just the all silver, it's very common for these rims to become oxidized. I've seen it on a bunch of them, and then the clear coat starts to peel and it bubbles. And if any of you ever had an Intrepid in your past, you probably know what I'm talking about. These rims don't even have a scratch on them. There's no oxidation. There's no bubbles. Like I said, these are the original tires. You can see how good the tread is. He did have mud flaps on it. I did remove them. I don't like the way mud flaps look on cars. I like them on trucks, but not. I just don't like them on a car. So I did remove the mud flaps. But here's the back seat. It's like new. You'll probably hear me say that a lot during this video, but everything's like new in here. I mean, the cloth is still soft. There's no stains. There's no crud, no spills. It's got the the rear vents. Another thing I've seen on a lot of used Intrepids down here. Most of them, this is broke. These are broke because people ride in the back seat or kids ride in the back seat, and then you accidentally cook them. I've seen tons of used Intrepids with these broke, but no, they're still there. They're not cracked or broken. The vents do work. I tried them. Still has the original floor mats under here. Every single thing on this car works. Everything. The cruise control, every bulb, the lights in the window buttons, the lights in the lock buttons, the cruise control works, the light under the hood works, the light in the trunk works. I mean, you name it. There's nothing that's inoperable. Everything works perfectly. All the speakers work. It has the mid-level, I call it the mid-level bass stereo, because you could get an optional infinity stereo. This one does not have the infinity stereo. It has the mid-level. It's got a tape player and a radio. The standard stereo had 4 speakers, and I know that because it's in the brochure, which I'll show you here in just a few minutes. I'm gonna show you guys a few pieces of literature that I have, but it has 6 speakers, and it actually sounds really good, surprisingly good for being 30 years old. If you get a good solid FM signal, it comes in very clear, and the sound quality is a lot better than I expected, and it actually is quite enveloping and almost like a 3D sound. It's hard to explain, but it sounds really good. And when you're playing a song, some of the instruments come out the passenger side speaker and not the driver's side speaker. That's by design, and it's just got this surprising 3D sound to it that I just wasn't expecting. Of course, it has, in the 90s, all cars had ashtrays, so it's got the swivel out ashtray. Of course, never been used, never been smoked in. And it's got, obviously, has power windows, although power windows were not standard in the first generation Intrepid, at least not for the first few years. Power windows became standard, I think, for the 95 model, but in 93 and 94, you had to pay extra for power windows and power locks. There's really not much to report in the back seat. It's spacious, it's big. These headrests are awful. They're so small. They only had these short little headrests for the 93 model year. In 94, they changed the design and they made them a little narrower and quite a bit taller so you could actually use them. But when you're driving this car, even if you lift the headrest up all the way, your head, I'm just under 6 feet tall, but you can't even put your head back on it. So yeah, I don't like the headrest, but that's the design they had, and that's okay. So yeah, there's the back seat. Nothing much to report. So I'll go ahead and I'll get in the front and I'll show you a couple things. As the child locks, that was standard. Let's see. He told me that the only 2 things that he replaced in this car were the battery, which I'll show you, and the struts for the hood. I'll show you that in a minute. But I'm obviously in the driver's seat now, and so it has he still had the original window sticker. I'll show you. This is a folder of all this stuff. Darn it, it got a little wet in the trunk because I washed it and I opened the trunk and water dripped in when I opened the trunk. Whoops, I'll have to let that dry. Darn it. Anyway, this is the original window sticker from 1993. And so it says Intrepid ES at the top. And it came with one of the customer preferred packages offered that added air conditioning. Yep, I've been doing my research. Air conditioning wasn't even standard, at least for the 93 Intrepid. So it has a preferred package, a customer preferred option package called 26L that adds air conditioning, AM, FM stereo cassette with 6 speakers and clock, electronic speed control, power door locks. Yeah, isn't that crazy? It didn't even have power door lock standard. 8-way power seat, driver's seat. It has a manual passenger seat. Power heated mirrors, leather wrapped steering wheel, power windows. Yeah, wasn't standard. And then the 16-inch aluminum wheels. The only two additional options is the automatic climate control for only $152. You see it right there. Instead of having the 3 dials, it has the optional automatic climate control, and then it has the 3.5 liter upgraded, the 3.5 liter V6 instead of the base 3.3 liter V6. He still had, I'm gonna put this down here so it can dry. He still had a brochure from '93. I actually had my own. I brought it with me because I'm a nerd. I was gonna show him. But it turns out he still had the one that from the dealership. But yeah, so that one, that's the one I bought. Has a tear in it. I got it off eBay. But here's an original '93 Intrepid brochure. Pretty good quality, and it has lots of neat pictures and drawings and such. But in the back, it shows all the standard and optional features. And I was just really surprised to see, because it's the top model ES. You know, remember there was a base model on the ES. I thought that the Intrepid ES came standard with a lot more features. It turns out it didn't. So as I pointed out earlier, this one has a popular package group. Sorry, called 26L. But look, this in the Intrepid ES, if you didn't get an extra package, pay extra. The ES model didn't come even with air conditioning. And it's in the owner's manual. They even have a diagram of what the interface looked like on Intrepids that didn't have air conditioning. I thought they all at least had air conditioning. I knew that a bunch of them had just manual windows and manual locks, but I thought they all had air conditioning, but evidently not. At least not for '93. You know, I know they made some changes for '94. This is the original owner's manual that he still had, and I don't need to bore you with the stuff in there, but he's got also the booklets and things like that. And he even had one. Remember the cassette tape deck cleaners? So here's one of those cassettes, and the little bottle in there of what is that, like alcohol or whatever, and you put it in the cassette deck to clean it. I haven't tested the tape player. I guess it works. I told you everything works. I guess I shouldn't say that because I haven't tried the tape player, but I'm sure it does. So yeah, and then he even gave me, he still had, I don't know where he got it, I didn't ask, but he has this old Consumer Reports magazine. I don't know if he got it at the dealership, if he bought it on his own while he was doing research. I don't know, but it's really old. It's from February of '94, and it has a review in it of the Intrepid ES. See? And here kind of proves my point. See how boxy the cars were back then? I mean, I think they're nice looking, but the Intrepid was just so sleek. And it's got a review in here of it, so anyway. And then I also had this for you Intrepid nerds. Maybe you'll like this. This was a book that Motor Trend put out back. I looked and looked, there's no year in it. It's got to be 92, 93 at the latest, because it's for the '93 Intrepid. So anyway, this is really cool. In my opinion, it's cool. It's got all sorts of information. It's like a magazine just on the Intrepid, and it has a bunch of pictures, you know. And it even has this was the optional. These were the optional rims that you could get on the base model and in the ES. The base models came standard with hubcaps, or you could get these. They call them polycast wheels with these black center caps. It's got 3 different colors: black, bright silver, dark silver. I always thought those were cool looking, but most people think they're ugly. I didn't think they were ugly. But this magazine is really neat because it has the different cars, the concept cars that preceded the Intrepid that kind of, I guess, foreshadowed what the Intrepid would become. The Eagle Optima is the white car. And then in the middle, it's hard to see, but that was the Lamborghini Portofino. And then this one here was the Chrysler Millennium. And those 3 concept cars were the Lamborghini Portofino, I believe, was the first one, but those are the cars that started dabbling in the whole cab forward architecture. I'm sure you've heard of this car introduced Chrysler's new cab forward design for 1993, where the windshield, the base is pushed out and the wheels are pushed back out to the corners and forward and back to give it a more spacious interior. And there are drawings, renderings that when they were designing the Intrepid, which I don't know, it totally fascinates me to see what could have been. There's that Lamborghini Portofino, so 1988. And I watched a video on YouTube. This was just a concept car, and one of the Chrysler employees who was interviewed talked about when they had that Lamborghini Portofino at the auto show, the public just went wild. And it was such a hit that they decided to make a car with similar features like the cab forward. Here's a 1989 Millennium, Chrysler Millennium, which it's not bad looking, but the front end is similar to the Intrepid. So, and then there was one other car, I'll show you in here. So here's a base model with the optional rims and the larger engine. You can always tell in the first generation if it's an ES or a base model because the base model doesn't have the fog lights or the ground effects at the bottom of the doors. Anyway, where did it go? I can't show you the two concept cars without showing you the final one. I know it's in here. Well, it was that White Eagle Optima. Let's see, maybe it's in here. 1990 Optima, page 74. Okay, yeah, there it is. 1990 Optima. It was a concept, and it even had a V8. So yeah, there's some of the literature. I have more magazines down in my basement. Automobile, Car and Driver, Motor Trend, where they tested the 93 Intrepid. So yeah, that's just some of the paperwork. The cup holders work just fine. They're not all corroded or crusty, or nothing's been spilled on them. Here's the center armrest that's totally empty. It's got, of course, it has the ashtray. And I'll start it. And this automatic climate control, it beeps when you change settings, which is kind of funny. Not a very loud beep, but it does beep. But the beep comes from over here somewhere. I don't know where. It doesn't go. You can tell it's coming from over there. The only I don't know if you call it a negative, but the only thing that see this on top of the dash, he had a radar detector. So I've only had the car a week, and I was really busy at work this past week. Very busy. I haven't had time yet. I'm gonna remove it carefully. I'll get Google or something that I'll do some research online. I need to find some sort of product that could remove that safely, because it's kind of an eyesore. But like I said, the buttons work, the windows go up and down. I always thought it was neat that the Intrepid and the Chrysler Concorde and the Eagle Vision, and the Chrysler LHS and New Yorker that came out for '94. I always liked it had the vents in the doors. Not a lot of cars had that, vents on the doors, but I always thought that was neat. And so, let me pop the hood, and I'll show you the engine. You can see how clean it is. So yeah, there it is, and it's running now, of course, but the engine is super clean. As I said earlier, the battery is not new. Is not original, of course. It's 30 years old. And then the struts under the hood, he had those. He did replace those because they lost their charge, and they wouldn't support the hood or lift the hood up anymore. Yep, engine runs just fine. It even had it even had the little bubble levels for the headlights. So that's the engine, and then I'll show you the trunk, and then that'll probably be about it. I don't know if you're even still watching. I don't know if I would be. Kind of a long video. Oh well. And then here's the trunk, super clean. This net thing is stretched out for whatever reason, but these aren't even stains. It looks like it might be a stain there. It's not. It's just water from when I opened the trunk. But the trunk is super clean. The original spare tire is under here. And the light works in it. Yep. And then he even like polished the exhaust tips, he told me, on a regular basis. Yeah, so he bought it brand new off a lot in Wisconsin. I drove it 6 hours to get it home, and it drove perfectly. Very smooth, no shaking, no shimmying. The alignment is fine, is good. I mean, it drives like pretty much like it's brand new. And then one little thing, and then I'll wrap it up. I was driving on the toll road, and you could see a bunch of brake lights ahead, and the 5 lanes went down into 2 lanes because 3 of the lanes were closed. So driving about, I don't know, 2 miles an hour, and I'm trying to slowly squeeze into this lane, and I see a guy giving me a thumbs up, and I look to my right, and I put my window down, and there was probably a 35-year-old guy or so. He said, "Oh man, I loved those cars. I haven't seen one of those in years." And I said, "Thank you, I just bought it. It only has 14,500 miles. It's a 93. He said, "That thing is beautiful." And I said, "Well, you just made my day. Thank you." So, yeah, like I said, I know there will be people who appreciate it. Anyway, so that's my virtually mint condition 1993 Dodge Intrepid ES. Leave your comments if you'd like. Your own stories. I'm gonna baby it. I'm gonna take very good care of it. I'm never gonna drive it in the rain, and I'm never gonna drive it in the snow. But I will drive it to work maybe 1 day a week. You know, keep the car running, keep the battery charged with the alternator and all that. But I have no intention on putting a bunch of miles on it. Excuse me, I don't. And I went to the Indiana BMV, and since it's over 25 years old, I was able to get a collector's, it doesn't say collector. I can't remember what the license plate says. It's on its way in the mail. I haven't gotten it yet. Gosh, I can't think of what it is. A classic is what I think it says. I don't know, but anyway, like a vintage or a collector car license plate. So I'll be putting that on it soon. Oh, one more thing. Even the turn signal stalk on a lot of used Intrepids, the end of this stalk gets all. They're always all dirty and corroded, and they lose their shine, and dirt collects. But look, it's like brand new. Windshield wipers, of course, work. They're probably the original wipers, but I didn't ask him. Yeah, it doesn't have every option. It doesn't have the overhead console. It doesn't have the automatic dimming mirror. And here's something funny. It doesn't even have lighted mirrors, which I would assume it'd have that. I'm sure there's an option package that offered it. In fact, I remember seeing it in there. This one does not have keyless entry. It doesn't have the remote fob, so you gotta unlock it with the key. But anyway, I'll shut up now. This is to me, it's such a cool car. It was such a part of my childhood, and I'm over the moon to have it. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Have a great weekend, rest of your weekend.